Welcome to another episode of WIFERSATIONS, a presentation sponsored by 25 to Life. And I am so glad that you guys could join us. Let me just say, first of all, that the joy that I have right now is so authentic. It's so legitimate because I have some amazing women that we get to talk to today. It's weird because we're not best friends. We're not, we don't talk on the phone, but any of that. But every exchange that I've had with both of them has always been positive, encouraging. I think that we've all encouraged each other at one point in our lives. I believe that we pay attention to each other's journey. And I believe that we're all rooting for each other. And so it was so important to me, or it is very important to me, to not just tell a beautiful, perfect stories. That's not what wifeism is. That's not even what life is.
Right.
And I believe in being happily married. I believe in having a wholesome home, a great family. But I believe that that comes from the dirt.
All right.
That causes our flowers to bloom that we have to deal with. And so today, we got something in common. We have something in common. And so these two ladies here, I've asked them to come and share with me because we were teenage mothers. And as we recognize Mother's Day in May, I thought this would be a great time to just acknowledge, salute, celebrate, and also respect the stories that we have. And so I'm going to introduce to you Miss Stephanie Allen and Miss Monette Harmon. Hey, y'all.
Hello.
Hey.
We are smiling because we just smiled. We just happy. And I just want to say I'm so glad that you guys said yes. I'm so glad that you were willing to trust us with your stories and with your voice. And so I'm just going to let Stephanie Allen go first. Could you just introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
I'm Stephanie, of course. I am a wife of almost 20 years. I am a mom of 8 children and a new grandma, a one beautiful little girl. So yeah.
Wow, welcome. And then Miss Monette.
I am Monette. I am also a wife, a mother of 3 boys, grandmother of 7.
Good.
Let's see, is it 5 boys and 2 girls.
Ooh.
My youngest grandchild is 2 months old. My oldest grandchild is 12.
So I'm excited, and we're definitely going to talk about our grandkids because that's a part of our life. That's a part of our story. As I said earlier, I've asked you guys to share with me today because there is, the untold story of the teenage mom. And so often we hear very popular speaker, Sarah Jakes Roberts. She talks about her story often. But there are people right in your neighborhood, right in your vicinity, right in your community that have went through that as well. And they have come out successful, but we don't always get to hear those stories. So I guess I can start, but I want us to just kind of dialogue and just share a little bit of our story. First of all, Mother's Day mean a lot to people like us, right?
Right.
Because we know what it's like. We was Mother's Day, and when our friends was doing something different. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I just whenever this day comes, first of all, my daughter, she was born a day before Mother's Day or 2 days before Mother's Day. And I'm 14 years old. You hear what I'm saying? And
I never knew that.
Yeah. You never knew that.
I never knew the age, your age.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I never knew that.
Yeah, wow. 14 years old. And Yeah. 2 days later, I bring her home on Mother's Day.
You know.
So I get a Mother's Day card, which is, weird. And that's people just celebrating you, but like, that's my new life, right?
Mhm.
And one thing I've learned for me, and when I talk to people, it don't matter the circumstance
Come on.
of how that happened.
Right.
Come on.
The journey
Mhm.
is something that we all get. You
Absolutely.
get what I'm saying? You get
Yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so now, and I've been like this for a long time. Now you just see like the glory, you see the benefits, you see how God strengthened you. But let's talk about when, whatever ages we are, you can share, you don't have to share. But let's talk about when we're that little girl
Right.
and we got this baby. And I never missed days of high school, never missed days of school, still graduated at 16. I had to keep going with my life. And I had my baby at a time when the teenage pregnancy epidemic was high. I believe that was the same for probably both for you too, because we're peers. And so in the, what do you call it? In the carnal world, or not church world, it was normal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
But in the church world,
You were banned.
you're supposed to move out of town. You're supposed to run away.
That's
you're supposed to, get secret abortions.
Correct.
You're supposed to do all of those things.
Yeah.
But then there's God.
Come on.
What do you guys have to say about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember my father was a pastor when I got pregnant. Now hear me, with my first one at 15. And at that time, that's when they made you come before the church and apologize. Yes, hunty. I had to walk down that aisle. I'm already embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, I had to come before the church, stand up there. Now they already see I'm pregnant, but I had to say it. I want to ask the church and God to forgive me because I got, I'm pregnant and blah, 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 blah. I don't remember the exact words, but I remember walking down that aisle. I remember having to ask the church to forgive me. And then it was funny because my father was not only the pastor, he was my father. So then he had to, at that time, turn to the congregation and ask the congregation if they would forgive me. So it's like they had to take a vote.
Stop it.
Wow.
They had to. So back in the day, that's what they did. And, I'm standing up there crying, and then the whole church, they come and they hug you and they hug you and they hug you, So I won't say I wasn't banned like most children were, and I only believe, and I'm going to be very honest, because I had friends that were pregnant too. I only believe it was because I was the pastor's daughter.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't the pastor's daughter, I would have been that little fast tail girl, that little, and they may have still said it, but it didn't get out to like they would have, hurt the feelings of another child, So that was my experience of, here I am. I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry, church. I'm sorry, daddy. I'm sorry,
By yourself though.
By myself. Yeah. Of course, the father doesn't have to do that type of stuff. They didn't have to be put on Front Street, and they didn't have to, but as the teenage mom, as a young person, as the girl, we had to walk through that fire by ourselves.
Yeah.
At a young age. At a very, very young age. So I can honestly say a lot of my tough skin now comes because I had to walk through fire at 15.
Yeah.
I've learned how to allow people's their feelings about me, their conversations about me, their whatever they have against me, it doesn't stick. Because baby, I was doing this at 15. People were talking about me at 15. So you know what I'm saying?
You already going somewhere.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
stop. That's why we connect. Go ahead, Miss Stephanie.
Well, I grew up in church. Grew up in a Pentecostal church. And when you got pregnant in our church, it was almost like the no, of course. I remember trying to hide my pregnancy as long as I could, because I still wanted to be with my friends.
Oh, wow.
I sung in the youth choir, and I knew that, at least I was able to be with my friends up until I could start showing. And so once I started showing, I stopped going to church because I knew immediately that they were going to look at me, they were going to point me out. It was just going to be a lot. So I stopped going, and one of the ladies who's my son's godmother, she showed up at my door, and she was like, "Where have you been?" And I was like, "I ain't coming." And she was like, "Well, why aren't you coming?" And I just kind of turned around, and she saw my belly, and she was like, "Yeah, I need you to still come." I didn't have the same experience as Monette. I didn't have to get up in front of the church. Actually, I sat back as much as I could to try to hide it as best as I could. But it was not received well, I'll tell you that. But it wasn't a terrible experience. I just knew that when I saw other girls that got pregnant in the church, even around the same time, because their families actually went to the church. Now, I went to the church with my grandmother.
Okay.
So it was just me and my grandmother that went to the church. It wasn't like my whole family went to the church. And so it was just me and her. And it just, once I decided I wasn't going, I just was expecting nobody to see me, nobody to show up. But I do have to say, when that woman showed up at my door and was like, "Where have you been?"
Wow.
It made me feel that at least somebody was paying attention, that somebody, saw that I was missing in action, whereas I would always be there participating. But the little boy came, and my experience being a teenage mom in church, I can't say that they shunned me, but we got the looks, we got the talk. We got the whispers, we got, all of that. We got told, you shouldn't have been doing this, and that. Okay, but he here now. Like, we need to deal with what's happening now. And I was 15 when I got pregnant. But yeah.
That's real. That's crazy. It's so funny when Ms. Monette was talking about how she had to walk up to the church. I didn't have to do that, but I come from a family church too. So it was a big deal, but I thank God. My grandfather, he was like, "Okay, now don't you do this no more." You know what I'm saying? But he said that privately. And I'll never forget, because we go to the same church, I can say her name. Our pastor, first lady, like my auntie, Pastor Pat, she said, "Okay, now when that baby comes, I'm here." It was those kind, and my mom goes without saying, "Oh, okay, us finna have us a baby." That's what she said. Us finna have us a baby. And like, whoever got something to say, they can see me. You don't have to speak for yourself, But I remember my friends, different friends' parents, or even relatives, would tell their kids, don't deal with her. Don't play with her.
Like it was contagious or something.
Like it was contagious. I was too fast. I was, it was something. Somebody very close to me, super close to me, he said, "Well, how could you do this to me? First of all, it's not you.
It's not you."
Oh, wow.
It's not you. And when he said that, at that age, you just like, when you're young, you just take everything. You don't realize that you're taking bullets. You don't realize that, God gives you a bulletproof vest in a sense. Like you said, Miss Monette. But I'll never, ever, ever forget that. And what's so funny? The same people that may have looked at us different then, now, well, can you talk to my child? And can you inspire my kid? And what you doing? And I'm so proud of you. And the person he said, "How could you do this to me?" He speaks well of me all the time. But it is like you said, when that lady came to your door, see, that reminds me of my mom. It wasn't saying that I condone it. It's saying, Okay, but we got to do this.
Yeah.
And she said, and you're not going to miss nothing.
Come on.
As your teenager, you going to prom, you're going to do all of these things,
Right.
you know, and you're going to thrive, even if I have to make you thrive.
Come on. Yeah. Yeah.
And I love what you said too, Monette. You really messed me up, because it is so true. When you get used to ridicule young,
right,
you learn how to fight a different way.
Correct.
That's true.
And then, you know, so when people are coming at you now, they don't understand the kind of boot camp you had to go through.
Hello.
Right.
So I fight different.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I know what I can take and what I can't take. I know what I have to take and what I don't have to take. Because when you're young like that, you know, it's like growing up early, growing up too fast.
Right.
Wow. That's amazing. Like we could end right there, but go ahead.
I like, and you know, at that age, as a young person, now you have to remember, we were taught, well, a lot of us were taught, you don't disrespect your elders. You don't talk back. You don't do this. You don't do that. So we have learned how to, like you stated, fight another way. Since we couldn't do that then, we learned how to take it in, release it, let it go. My father would always tell me, consider the source of which the information has come and you move on. And that's how, you know, I've gotten so far. So now here I am, 46 years old, and things that people would think should ruffle my feathers. Baby, I couldn't talk back to people back then. I've mastered being silent. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
I've mastered it. And it's funny now, if you were close, my siblings, I tell them all the time, can I just act like my page was hacked and just act the whole one time? Can I just do it
one time? Stephanie posted something like that before.
One time.
Can I just want to act like it was hacked and just post and say everything I want to say, and then go back in like 10 minutes and say, oh my goodness, somebody hacked my page.
One time. Come on.
But I know, as we stated before, our integrity is on the line.
Right.
I have too many people that have watched me get to this point, and some of them are sitting on the sidelines waiting on me to crash and burn from being a teenage mother, from being a teenage mother twice. You know what I'm saying? I had 2 children by the time I was 17. 2. And so here I am, 46 years old, and my last child is getting ready to graduate high school. And I'm at a point now where things just don't bother me like they used to, because I was a baby mama.
You are amazing, because I would say something every now and then. But then you build up your,
and then I delete.
Right.
Now you're the one I was gonna talk about, Stephanie, because now I'm probably more silent, but you hate it. It's like you want the integrity. And I believe God does that. He builds you up. He don't leave you where you came. Now that's one thing we got to believe. Whatever you're going through, he don't leave you like that. And you build yourself up in integrity because your heart is right. Okay, things happen. And also you don't know how they happen. So every time you look at somebody, you look at a young girl that's pregnant, you don't know how that happened.
Right.
You don't know what happened. You don't know what happened. Now they probably can't tell everything, but don't think that all little girls is out there just spreading their legs. Sometimes people are being messed with. But anyway, when you think about that, you build up your integrity, and because you've erred in certain ways, or because you've experienced shame, you try to go through your life a certain kind of way where you don't have to go through those things that much anymore. And so I become silent, but I realize now that started affecting me within. I thought about you, Stephanie, because this past year, you kind of been just saying a little something here and there.
Let me tell you.
Release it, girl.
Stephanie's been releasing, and it's so funny because she's so cool, right? She's so cool. Girl, what's going on with you?
Let me tell you. I've learned the one, and I'll say this, because I was a teen mom, I've learned to prove my haters wrong.
Come on.
By doing what I need to do. Okay?
Come on.
Like Monette said, you take the bullet and you learn how to be quiet. my thing was I got on the grind and I did what I need to do because so many people told me, oh, you're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be this. You're not going to make this. You're not going to be able to, do certain things because I was that teen mom.
Yeah.
And so my whole point was, I'm going to prove you wrong. You're not going to stop coming for me. I'm going to prove you wrong. So when I was told you're not going to graduate on time, please understand, my son was born in December. I stayed out until school came back in January and I hopped right back in school because I was trying to prove y'all I'm not going to be what you kept telling me that I was going to be.
Right.
Same thing, I came back to school, I'm on the honor roll, whatever the case may be. I was busting it out because I kept trying to prove to people I'm not going to be what you keep telling me that I'm going to be.
Wow.
Well, eventually that gets a little tiring.
Okay.
Trying to prove everybody wrong. And I've gone through this healing journey now. I would see a therapist and she and I are working through, a lot of stuff that I have built up because I've been trying to prove everybody wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I just have to let it go sometimes.
Yeah.
I do it very tactfully. Now, I do it very tactfully. But I think, you get to a point where you're tired of people coming for you because they came for you forever. Like, come on. Like, if my life was different, you wouldn't be saying the same stuff.
Right.
If I was a whole different person, you wouldn't be saying the same stuff. So, I've just come to the point where I have to be happy for Stephanie.
Absolutely.
I have to do what I want to do that's best for me. And just realize that I don't have to keep proving people wrong because I done did all that. That part is done. And even if I didn't prove them wrong, I'm still doing what I need to do to take care of my family. My family is doing what they need to do as well. And so I when I have to say things, it's because I peep stuff.
Right.
I see people trying to, okay, I see this happening. But at the same token, I've just come to the realization I don't have to prove myself to nobody no more.
That's good.
I've lived that for too long.
Now you said something that I wanted to touch on. I know Miss Monette has talked about it too. Just getting ourselves mentally healed.
Absolutely.
And I want to hit that because we're in our 40s, different levels. I think I'm 48, Monette 46. What are you? 44. And we're proud of that.
Absolutely.
Fine. But it's like when you hit them 40, some come to your life and you really need to do like a self-check so that you can go forward in wholeness. Because we all know how to move forward.
Right.
But you can move forward broken or you can move forward whole. And you talked about your therapist and just finding, something for you. Because really all it is somebody taking time to hear you without all the noise.
Correct.
That's really what it is. And you being able to hear yourself and express your thoughts without worrying about, am I gonna hurt somebody's feelings?
Yeah.
What they gonna say about what I think, all of that, the kind of door. So it's really like a safe place. Yeah. So I know you mentioned it, and if you want to talk more about that, you can, Miss Stephanie. But I know that's a thing for you too, Miss Monette.
Mm-hmm.
How do you
absolutely?
What can y'all say about that? Just the awakening of knowing, like, hey, I got to get all this together before I lose it.
Because I know with me, because I was so used to trying to take care of everybody and everything, I was drowning. I was drowning, and I didn't know it. When but I'm at a place now where I want to be here, and like you say, move forward whole. And the only way I can do that is to release the stuff that don't matter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the things that didn't matter or don't matter are the things that I was holding on more so to than anything. And I didn't know it. I'm gonna be honest with you, this pandemic has really shifted my entire life. Now, don't get me wrong, I was always a homebody. Didn't bother me. I was always, one that liked to serve and to help. So that didn't bother me. But what made things different for me is I got closer to my children. I honestly got closer to my children. My oldest son is 30. He'll be 31.
Yeah.
My oldest son. And I never had a relationship with him. Like never. We would, in passing. But it got to a point where he had a meltdown. speaking of his mental state, he had a meltdown. And I had to tell him, Montreal, I need you to talk to somebody, because there's no reason why you and I can't have a conversation without you just completely blowing up. And after he and I talked, my son brought up some things that he had witnessed of me, and I never knew he knew.
Wow.
Never knew he knew. He asked me, he said, Mom, why didn't you ever fight back? I'm like, what are you talking about? Mom, when you was in a relationship with that dude and he was fighting you, you never fought back. Why didn't you fight back? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And it's crazy, because what did I tell y'all before? When I was younger, I was taught to
be silent.
Yeah.
So and that caused a breakdown in a communication and even a relationship with my son, because he felt I should have been doing something else. He felt so it didn't just affect me, my mental state, being as a young mother, it affected my son. And I didn't know I was carrying all of that. I was holding on to all of that until I got older. And then when I started having complete breakdowns where I had to go to the mental institution, to the behavioral unit, to stay for a few days, and they told me what really is going on, what is really going on with your life.
Wow. Yeah.
What is really going on? And then I had to start picking those things apart. They made me start talking about things that I never talked about, ever talked about, and had no idea that was the root of some of my issues. But once again, as a young person, I was taught, don't disrespect your elders. Whatever they say, just let them say it. Let them say it. And so I grew up with, just keep it all in. Just keep it all in. But now I let it out, but I let it out a different way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I choose not to give people a piece of my mind. Y'all know I ain't got a lot up there. I need to keep every bit I got. So I choose to give people a different response. That's one reason why I'm so comical on Facebook. That's one reason why I spend a lot of time with my grandchildren, because I need them to know that Gigi loves you, or you all have a place and you all keep me going. That's the reason why I'm always following behind my kids when they go somewhere. If you look at any of my family pictures or whatnot, you don't see very many strangers. Right. If you really go and look at my stuff, I'm with my kids, my mama, my grandchildren, my siblings. Because I had to learn how to keep my support system close to me, of people that truly support me.
That's rooting for you.
That's truly. Right. I lost a lot of connections of people, and I thought I was bothered by that, because I'm like, I thought we were close. I thought we were this, but then I found out it's not that we were not close. Their season was just up. And I'm okay with that. No hard feelings, no ill will. I just learned that that's not what I need now, because I've done and I've come through too much to have to be worried about, I done lost a friend. Girl. They don't talk to me no more. I don't go over there. They don't call me. I don't need it. At this point, when you have 5 sisters, 6 grandchildren, and a husband and 3 kids, my household is always busy.
Not at all.
So I'm grateful that somebody, well, I'm gonna say it like this. I'm grateful I went through what I went through to be able to acknowledge and drive myself to the behavioral unit to get some help.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I knew enough to know that something isn't right. And that's where we're missing out on things now, even as teenage moms, as wives, as children, all of that. We're missing out on the signs of, okay, this isn't right, but we've been here for so long, we think it's normal.
That's a part of Christendom too. Correct. Because sometimes we think we have to just bear some stuff because we love God and we belong to Jesus. But listen here, that shake the dust is real. Shake the dust is real. The turntables over is real. And sometimes we can be manipulated.
Yeah.
In Christendom,
Correct.
by people because we decide that we don't want to take toxicity or dysfunction.
Correct.
So it's in every area of our life, because I don't want it to be that it's just in the secular world that people going through this. This isn't the church. This is a Christian platform. You know, my stuff is based off the principles of God. And so I want to make sure that we stress that because you know the Lord and you have him in your heart, you do not have to carry, you don't have to carry that weight.
That's
Stephanie,
right.
so what's your new awakening, Stephanie?
You know, I'll be very transparent. I was sexually abused as a kid.
Okay.
And one thing, I never dealt with it. I was the type that, you know, it happened, I told, I buried it.
Wow.
Nothing happened from there. Now, as I'm raising my kids, of course, I know I have children that are adopted. One of my daughters have gone through the same thing.
Wow.
And watching her fight that battle,
Jesus,
awoken the demon that I had buried.
Oh, wow.
And so as I'm trying to get her help, I'm realizing that, okay, it's some stuff that's starting to come up for me now too, that I had already packaged away, that I put a little bow on, buried, and, you know, threw it in the backyard, threw dirt on top of it. And now it started to wake back up as I'm trying to get help for her. And so I was like, you know what? I can't there's no way I can say I'm going to help my child if I didn't even get to help myself.
That's right. That's right.
And so I started seeing somebody too, just so that I could start dealing with what all I had been carrying for so long. And so I'm over it. You know how you say you over the BS? I'm over all of it.
Right.
I'm over, you know, people saying, oh, it's going to be okay. It's going to get better. No, I'm going to tell you, no, you might want to see somebody. Because the truth of the matter is we keep telling people it's going to be okay.
Right.
It's going to get better. But if we're not dealing with it, all we doing is burying it, and it's going to come up eventually.
It'll manifest some way.
The wrong way.
And it's going to come, right. It's going to show up when you least expect it.
Right.
It's going to show up when everything is going well. And it's going to rear its ugly little head. And that's what started to happen.
Wow.
And I just realized, I said, you know what? I can't keep, it's disturbing me. It disturbed my sleep. It disturbed relationships with people. I was just like, I can't keep doing this no more. So I started seeing a therapist, like really seriously, because I really needed to deal with what was going on, not just with myself, but so that I could be whole for my family.
Absolutely.
I put a bandage on it and thought I was okay. And I realized that how I was raising my children sometimes was out of fear, or overly cautious. Or, you know, just not necessarily that it was bad, but it could have been done a different way, right?
Yes.
And so now I'm learning, and I'm just like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm over all the BS. We're gonna deal with it, and we're gonna move on. And I've just come to that realization that, you know, life ain't that bad. You know, nothing is too hard to be fixed or rectified or reconciled. And we just keep moving on, because truthfully, I've seen so much happen in the last couple of years just within my family, because we're going through it. I'm just like, you know what? This ain't gonna keep happening. Wow. You know, I'm learning how to release that stress, because I want to be here for my kids.
That's right.
I want to be healthy and whole for them.
That's right.
I want my grandbaby, you know, when she comes by, to feel safe and to know that she has a safe space at Gigi's house. You know, and I still want that for my kids. My youngest is 7. And so, you know, I wish I was like y'all and saying that my youngest is graduating, but unfortunately I got a long way to go. That little one snuck in. But I need to be healthy because she's 7.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? And I need to be able to provide for them, you know, to show them that healthy side of mom.
Correct.
Not that I was really unhealthy. It just, you know, what I was doing at that time served me, and it no longer serves me.
That's good.
So we have to learn how to do stuff differently.
I like how you said that, like at the time it served me and it no longer serves me. One thing I learned is that I get to change my mind.
Come on.
I get to go in a new direction.
Yes.
And I didn't have to ask you. I don't have to ask you. And I might have liked it yesterday, but I don't like it today.
Wow.
Not today.
And I'm still valuable. I still matter. I still love you. I still love the Lord. I'm still blessed.
Right.
Yeah.
But I get to change my mind. Now, with that, I have to deal with the consequences of that. But I also believe I'm covered.
Come on here.
Because the motivation behind my mind change was not with a raggedy heart.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And you have to protect your heart. You have to protect your peace. Because when you're young, when you're a teenager and you're going through traumatic things, I don't care who thought it was that the babies have come. That's still traumatic for a little girl.
Right.
And so no matter what it is, you don't know how to protect your peace. You don't know how to protect your heart. You don't know that. And Miss Stephanie said something that was so powerful. You know, you raising your kids out of fear. I did that. You know, I wanted them to be perfect. I wanted them to have the right household. I would go to the ends of the earth for my kids, my husband. Hello. I gotta hold my family together. No matter what. I didn't have people around. I'm a homebody like you, Miss Monette. You know, if we went out, we went out. But if we didn't, I was okay. All of that. And I'll never forget, my daughter was asking to go somewhere doing something. And she was probably about 16 or 15, something like that. And this is the oldest. She's 34 now. And she goes, Mom, I'm not gonna have a baby.
Wow.
And when she said that, because my daughter she yells now, but she was such a good kid. God knew what I needed. When she said that, something clicked in me, like, man, all this time, the way I'm doing her is because I was so worried that something was gonna happen to her that I couldn't let her breathe.
Wow.
And I think I was like that with all my kids, like you, Miss Monette, and I'm sure you are too, stepping close to my children. I'm watching them. I'm always prepping them. I get them motivational speeches all the time. They get so tired of motivational speeches, motivational texts. You know, even with my grandkids. But it's because you experience such a rough world, and you want your people to be strong. I mean, to my husband, I'm like, you the man, you know, but see, you know, and in the role that he plays now in the community, in the world, you know, people say that. But see, I was telling him that at 18 and 19.
Come on here.
So you always been the man. So don't get caught up when everybody else say that, because if something don't go right and they stop patting you on your back, you still gonna be the man. That's the kind of person I was. Yeah. But I wasn't telling myself all of that.
Yeah.
Right.
All I was saying is what I could do for others, like Miss Monette said.
Too busy serving, you know.
I'm the best. I'm good now. I can logistic you and then anything. I can fix anything. I can make it happen. I can lead. I can do all of that. But
I couldn't.
You can't. Couldn't fix me. And you can't expect nobody to care for your heart.
Come on.
Care for your business the way you
can.
And and people treat you how you allow them.
That's true.
And I found that when you get to say, no, that don't work, guess what? They're going to respect that. They may not like it, but they're going to respect it, or they get to walk away.
Correct.
They get to walk away. I wanted to ask you guys, that blessed me, Stephanie.
It did.
Because that's real. And I know about sexual abuse when you're young. I experienced that too, very young. I remember 6 years old. And so, wow. And you don't realize that. And isn't that something, y'all? Let me just ask y'all this. We're gonna be petty because our therapist. God bless me with a therapist to be like, I'm scared of you, girl. I know you. And every time we leave, she bring up this one topic, and I never talk about it. And she's like, okay, when we come back, we're gonna talk about it. And isn't it something like, because you're avoiding, you don't realize it's been something that you've been dealing with that you don't even know you're dealing with.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
And they see it in you.
They
and I'm like, you don't know me. Don't act like you know me.
Right.
But she do. Like she's a godsend. She know me.
Girl.
Right. Yeah. Like they say people can see it before. I was told from my therapist, people see you before you see you.
Wow.
They see, because we're so used to this. We're so used to what we're walking in. But people see you and they know when something's different before you even do, especially people that are close to you or people that are invested in you and your growth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they want to see you do well. They want to see you make it, you know, out of whatever you're in. They want to see it. And a lot of our trauma as teenage mothers, we have actually put it, like she said, wrapped it in a bow and put it away. But until we open that present, that gift, that wrapping, until we open it and dissect what's in it, it's going to always be a part of us. And we don't even know that we're transferring those things to our children and our spouses and our other family. Because Butch would say, my husband would say all the time, he was like, why do you always go off on me? Why? I didn't even do nothing. I didn't even, you know, and I was told, my therapist told me, she said, you're doing that because you're expecting him to still love you when it's all over with. You're expecting him to, because because he has vowed to love you to the end, you're dumping on him.
Yeah.
You're dumping everything on him. And you have to stop doing that because he can also get tired of it.
That's true.
Just because he says, I love you till death do us part, this and the other, you don't want to be the cause of the death doing your part and even not dying. When she told me that, I could have just leave the seat. He doesn't
Girl,
even
now
have
that's
to
good.
die.
Can you say that part again?
And we say, till death do us part. And in the relationship, death doing us part doesn't have to mean dying. We kill off our relationships. We kill off our friendships. We just kill it off. But the crazy part is we remain in the same place. So we're dead walking around together. We're dead. You know what I'm saying? Still going through the motions, but it's dead. And then that's where our problems come in at. And we don't even know. We don't even know. We don't understand why, but we have to go back because we've dumped everything we could possibly dump on our spouses and our children, and we're killing them all softly. We're killing them. And that's when she told me, okay, you got to break away from all that. And then I just started telling everything. And now the relationship I have with my husband, it's, I can say it's so cute now. It's so cute now. It is. Now it is. I remember your mom, Pastor Lewis, coming to me, and I've said this before on Facebook, how she had to tell me, did you hear what your husband said? He said he wants his wife. He don't want the usher at the church. He wants his wife. But I was so conditioned even then.
Serving.
To serve.
Make everybody happy.
To serve. But, you know, so at some point we have to know we can't keep killing off our relationships.
That's good. That's
good.
Keep
doing it. We can't keep doing it. Our families don't deserve it. Our children, we don't deserve it. We deserve to be happy. We deserve to be whole. We deserve to be, you know, walking in the new. You know, things are changing around us, and we're steady focusing on what used to be and what could have been and should have been. We're not enjoying the right now. And that's not fair.
My therapist said, and I'm going to ask you, Stephanie, do you have something that your therapist said that you hold on to? One thing she told me, she said, Shelon, she's a little Italian woman. Amazing. And she know the Bible. So when I'm talking, she be like, but didn't the Bible say it? I'm like, girl. But and she know church. She know family, she know all that, so she ain't impressed by nothing, and she ain't shocked by nothing. And so, but that, like Miss Stephanie said, that's because she's a godsend. She said, Shelon, I hear everything you're saying. She said, now we're gonna have a moment. We're gonna grieve. Grieve. I want you to grieve what you thought it was supposed to be.
Come on here.
Oh yeah.
So that you could be able to accept and live in what it is.
What it is.
Because sometimes our bitterness or our anger or even the resentment we have within ourselves is because we're steady going in circles trying to be something we thought, or trying to experience something or have something according to, in our mind, how we think it's supposed to be. And you need to grieve that, because once you let that go, then you're going to be able to embrace what is.
That's true.
That's true. We paint the picture, of how we think it's supposed to go. I had the picture painted in my head too as a little girl. I'm had this house with a white picket fence and, 2 kids, a boy and a girl and a dog and my husband and, all of that.
Yeah.
Here I am 8 kids later. Ain't got no picket fence.
You got a dog?
I don't want one.
You got a dog?
I got a dog.
Okay.
Come on
But
here.
you know what I'm saying? But we paint this picture and realize, that, it's not the way we had envisioned it. And we have to live in that reality. Right. And, it's hard to accept it sometimes. I wanted, my kids to be honor roll students. And I pushed for them to be that, right? Because, as a teenage mom, you're not going to tell me my kids ain't going to be smart because I gave birth to them young. I know.
Right.
We going to do this.
Right.
And that picture starts to slowly get stripped away. Pieces get stripped off of it because it ain't what we painted in our minds no more.
Right.
And then you have to realize and say, but I'm trying to meet somebody else's expectation.
That's right.
And we stop meeting other people's expectations. We come to the realization that this is what I have. This is what God has given me, and I'm gonna work it. I'm gonna work it to the best of my ability, and we gonna make it happen. My kids won't be perfect. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. They're gonna make mistakes. Right. That's okay. Does that mean I'm a bad mom? Not at all. Because I was a teenage mom, does that mean my kids ain't gonna, turn out successful? Not at all.
Come on.
That's their journey. Their journey is their journey, and I have to let them take that journey. And still be supportive of the journey that they decide to take, and still know that even though I might have had my kid young, I'm still a good mom.
Come on here.
I've done my best.
I know
I'm not a mistake. My son ain't a mistake. My children aren't mistakes. That what I've instilled in them. They know it. They know how to run back to the altar, absolutely. But they gonna go their own journey.
You better help today.
Take their own journey. My picture is not beautiful. My picture is fully messy. And guess what? I framed it and put a bow on it and hung it up.
Stop it. Perfectly imperfect. Perfectly imperfect.
For real.
That is, girl, you don't mess me up now. You don't mess me up. I didn't say we was having church. I said
she still framed it. You hear me?
Hey, framed it.
Framed it. That's us, girl. Yes. Ain't that how we are anyway? Because I know y'all, that's how we are anyway. Think about our journeys. The one thing I want to ask you, what is your source of strength? How valuable is your village, and how important is that? And just want to hear about your village support, your source of strength, and what keeps you motivated now.
I have to say a shout out to my village, because my village is big. It's so funny because I was telling my friend the other day, I was like, I really do appreciate you. You just don't know because, when especially because we have so many kids, we need breaks more often, at least for me, I do.
Yeah.
And I call on my village regularly. I got one friend that comes in and helps with homework on a weekly basis. She's like, here till midnight, checking on homework with my kids. And it gives me and my husband the ability to take a break from that. Because I know my kids get tired of hearing us fuss. I know my kids get tired of, us saying, okay, come on, let's get these grades together. So for somebody to come in and to be able to assist with that has just been really, really a godsend. So shout out to my friends. But my village knows if I call them, they coming in a heartbeat. My mom, my 2 best friends, Brandy and Tanisha, my friend Tiff, like they have been amazing in just supporting us and uplifting us. And being hands-on. I don't mean like, you have those acquaintances, you have those friends. Yeah, y'all kick it. These are people that are like on the ground. If something pop off at this house, I dial a button. Hey, we here, we pulling up, like for real pulling up. They've been amazing. Like seriously, they've been amazing. And I've been friends with them for years. So kudos for real to them, especially when we need to take breaks and, do this, that for just me and my husband. Absolutely. I really have to say my source of strength, God above all. But just the thought that, somebody's always watching. And I don't want to ever let somebody down. And now I'm not saying I'm going to be perfect in front of them, because I won't. Not at all. Because this life ain't perfect. But knowing that my kids are watching me, knowing that, other people are watching me, I have to show my kids, yep, we may have a rough patch right now, but I promise you it's going to get better. I promise you it's going to get better. Showing them, especially that, bad times don't last always forever. My kids come, some of my kids who we adopted, they come from trauma. And so I have to always show them things don't stay bad forever.
Right.
Just because you started in this rough patch, you ain't got to stay there.
Right.
And so just pushing them and knowing that they watching me, knowing that they watching dad, we push forward because we got to. We got people coming behind us. We got the next generation of kids that's watching. I'm trying to raise kings and queens, and nope, they're not gonna be perfect, but I promise you, they're gonna be good because they don't watch us do it.
Yeah.
And you got a frame around it with a bow. Girl, I'm done with that.
That frame.
Like, for real.
Did it not bless you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Girl.
Like, seriously. So
you blessed me with that one. Miss Monette?
I honestly can say my village, once again, consists of my family, my mother, my siblings, my children, and even my grandchildren. My grandchildren are motivation for me, just to see them, or just to get to talk to them or FaceTime them. And I'm gonna go here and just say I don't have the relationship like I would like to have with all of my grandchildren. And that bothers me sometimes. But then I have to remember that there's only so much I can do. Yeah. I'm the grandmother. I'm not the mom. I'm not the dad. And that has kind of helped me get through the situations. A lot of people have a lot of people don't have a relationship with their in-laws. My in-laws are the best.
Yes, mine too. Yeah.
When I tell you my village, my in-laws, I threaten Butch all the time. Keep talking crazy. I'm gonna call Leroy. Keep talking crazy. Sherry, I'll text him in a minute. It'd be so funny. I can do that at any given time. I've even picked the phone up and be like, Leroy, you need to come get your brother. And he'd be like, what is it, sis? What is it? And I'll just say something silly. He's like, girl, if you don't get off my phone, but I love the fact that I can call them and they will come and see about me. Even in my downtime, even when I'm hurting, and they will come and see about me. I tell Landon all the time, I said, you have something most people don't have. You have two families.
Yeah.
That if something, God forbid, would happen to your mom and your dad, they would literally fight over who's going to take care of Landon.
Yeah.
I said, people don't have that. So my village, I have my best friend Callaway, my best friend Tisha. I don't keep a lot of people around me. I can't, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't trust people to, like you stated, protect my heart and protect my anointing and protect my character and my integrity. I can't because I've worked too hard to get here. Yeah. So I can't just give it over freely to people that I don't think would take care of it. So I have people, associates and whatnot. And I thank God for those individuals that do, pray for me and that look out for me and that'll inbox me and say, that what you posted today really encouraged me, or girl, you so crazy, or, this, that, and the other. I'm grateful for those people because they also keep me going.
Yeah.
People don't understand a lot of times my motivation to make them laugh is to get me out of the dumps. Jesus. A lot of times when I'm posting goofy stuff, I am going through the worst days of my life.
My God.
and they have no idea. I'll put on something silly and take a picture and get right back in the bed. People don't know that. They thinking I'm walking around here having a good day, have no idea. But the laughter that they get from that lifts my heart. It lifts me once again, because I'm serving up laughter. I'm serving up I'm serving, and then I can go back and I read comments, and then I'll start laughing and I start feeling better. Then I'll get out of the bed, and then, so a lot of things that I do for me, it just helps somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's my motivation. My motivation is to help push people past some of their trauma by trying to heal my own.
My God.
That's good.
So
That's
my source, of course, has always been God, my faith, my family, my it just I try my best to make sure that I am giving people what I would want them to give me back. And that's why I can't act the fool sometimes. And that's why I can't respond to people sometimes. And that's why I leave people on unread, because it's like, I ain't gonna be able to do it this time. And as you said, I have a right to change my mind. I have a right to move differently this time. I'm okay with saying no. The word for the day is no.
No.
And I'm good with that. Period. I'm good with that. So I'm enjoying this part of my life. I'm enjoying this journey. I have the young ladies that are in my children's lives. I'm playing mentor. I'm playing mom to them. Khalil's mom, Mika, just lost her mother. So I'm helping her in a way that I didn't think I would have to help. You know what I'm saying? Phone calls and they'll FaceTime me about, the baby and this, that, and the other. And, and I'm like, okay, well, did you guys do this or this, that, and the other? So I have to make sure that I'm good so I can help her. This is hard. My son has never had a child before. Mika's never had a little girl before. You know what I'm saying? My other, I have my grandchildren's mother. Some of them reach out to me for help and some of them don't. And I'm okay with that. But I'm here if they need me. I had to learn that. I'm here if they need me. I'm not going to force myself. I'm not going to force myself to be a part of you all's life. I'm the grandmother. My door is always open. So I just learned to be content in where I am, enjoy this journey, because what's to come is better than better. And I'm good. And I'm good.
This is so rich. This is so rich. I honor God, because when I hear you guys speak, I'm still thinking about how we started. 14, 15, years old. And of course we had people that pushed us. But we always heard the background noise.
Of course.
And we kept going. And just to hear how now, we are making a difference not only in the lives of our own children, but others. Impactful in the kingdom. Y'all know I don't play about the kingdom of God.
Come on. Right.
I love the kingdom. I love God has been so kind. I would never discount his kingdom, because that's just how good he's been. And I know that you guys make differences in your own ways in the kingdom of God. When people would sit back and say they ain't gonna be about nothing. Who can they influence? What can they say? What do they know? Look at all, and then now, you know what I'm saying? That people are looking to you when you talk about Monette being a surrogate mom. I mean, at the beginning, I had 2 kids by the time I was 17, and whatever. And you was learning to be a mom, and now you can do that. And then Miss Stephanie, our stories are somewhat similar, but just carrying kids really, really early, and God being able to allow us to have some good success, and be able to pull through, and then be able to look back and help others. That matters to me. And I too want to be that one to give back. I think Miss Monette said that, like, the reason why I do some of the things I do it may not be about getting millions of people to get it, but if one person can
That's
get
right.
it, I
Yeah.
never want people to feel the depressions that I felt.
Right.
Yeah.
I never want people to feel left out like I
Right,
felt before,
Yeah.
the rejection that I felt
Yeah.
before, and the shame that I
Right.
Oh,
felt
yeah.
before.
Right.
Or if you're married and you going through something and you don't want to leave, you don't have to go. You
Right.
get what I'm saying? Like, I want to be
Right.
that one to say, you don't owe anybody any explanation
No
about how
explanation.
you live your life.
Right.
You know, try to be safe, be responsible,
Right.
you know,
Right.
consult God, lining
That-
up with his will. But the
Mhm.
decisions that you make about your life, you get to do
That's
that.
you.
That is why I do what I do. I don't want people, if I can help somebody not hurt today,
Come on.
if I can help somebody smile today, if I can help somebody be proud of a small victory,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, that's what we want to be, you know,
Absolutely.
because it's such a independence thing being taught right now. And in
Mhm.
truth, we need people.
Yeah.
We do.
Right. Right. Everybody
Absolutely.
needs somebody.
You
Right.
need
That's
somebody.
good.
We talked about our village, and when y'all start talking about it, y'all just, it's like you can hear background music, you know, my village, and I could just call them, and
Yeah.
because you need people.
Yeah.
We do.
And sometimes we have to be the village that somebody else don't have,
That's true.
Right.
That's
you
true.
know. And I believe that through living our lives with integrity and definitely keeping God at the forefront,
Yeah.
and you know, of our lives, in the center of everything that we do, we're able to push out things even beyond, as you were talking about what you be dealing with, Monette, even beyond our own fears, our own disappointments, our own bad days. I appreciate you guys for being willing to share. And I want to just say this again: circumstances, whatever puts you in whatever position you're in, it doesn't diminish your pain.
That's right.
Mhm.
You know,
That's right.
you know, Mary had a baby early.
Come on.
She had a baby early, and Hagar was used to have a baby.
Mhm.
Come on. What was that? Was used.
Was used.
Yeah.
I like that.
It didn't diminish the
Come on.
shame that they both
Come
felt.
on.
Right. Right. Right.
God.
God
Right.
sent angels to deal with both of them.
Come on here.
You hear what I'm saying?
Come on.
And so no matter why you are a mother, how you became a mother, and how you're mothering now, God sees, he sees you.
Yes, he does.
And he sent some angels. Y'all see my angels, Miss
Yes.
Monette
Yes.
and Miss Stephanie,
Yes.
to encourage you
Yeah.
Yes.
that it won't be like this
Mm-mm.
always.
No.
Yeah.
And sometimes God will move you away from a circumstance, like he told
Mhm.
Joseph, you could take Mary and y'all go here. And sometimes he'll make you go back, but you'll be strong.
Yes.
Like he told
That's
Hagar,
right.
go back,
Stronger.
That's right.
go back
Right.
home.
That's right.
Either
Right.
way,
Come on.
he sends you the help you need. So
Yeah.
anytime
Yeah.
somebody try to take away who you are, what you've accomplished, what matters
Yeah.
to you, nope, you can't, because God did this.
God did.
Right.
God did this.
Oh
And
my.
Right.
oh, you messed me up, Miss Stephanie.
Oh
I
my.
done forgot where I was. Okay.
Oh my. And he still framed it. Oh,
I was
that's a
just gonna
sermon
say,
right
I'm
there,
stuck
y'all.
on the
And
frame. I'm
it's
stuck on the
still
frame.
framed. And it's
Got to.
still framed.
You better get this picture so I can put this bow on here.
Oh my
Hey.
goodness.
Yes.
I love
Ooh,
it.
that's
I love
good.
it. Okay.
Ooh.
Ah,
Ooh.
so Monette touched on this. She said a little bit about it. And I just wanted to dig just a little bit deep because we WIFERSATIONS. So we know that we're going to be talking with some wives. She talked about how her trauma or the different things she was dealing with affected her marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And not, I don't say this to say like she was destroying, like she was the one that's bad in her marriage. That's not what we're going to say. That's not what we're talking about.
Right.
But I do want to discuss how you go into a marriage with this trauma, or somebody marries you with their own trauma, and the effects of it, and how God's mercy and patience and endurance becomes like something you lean on more than love.
Come on here.
Yeah.
But I can love you and still not be with you. So it's not about that.
Yeah.
But that commitment and that endurance. And I also think, and I'm gonna say it, that willingness to not fail
Right.
in the marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
How I don't know if Monette, you want to share more. Miss Stephanie, what do you think about that?
It's funny because this is my second marriage.
Okay.
So my first marriage lasted about 6 months. Like, and I got married because my father wanted me to be married, because I had 2 kids,
right,
and the status that he played. And I'm like, I like the guy, he was a preacher at the church, and and all this good stuff. But I'm like, no, this ain't it. This is not it. So we divorced, good terms. He was still, good guy. He's deceased now.
Right.
But then when I married Leonard, I still had a lot of baggage.
Yeah.
I still had, because I married him with 2 children, and those children were 10 and I can't even remember. They were 10 and 8 or something like that or whatnot. And Landon was just a week old, 2 weeks old, so I still had so much going on. But then I continued to put other things there before him. My husband has always been the type to be, let me hold your hand. Let's kiss you on the cheek. Stop. Don't
Physical
do that.
touch.
Because I didn't grow up watching that. Once again, going back to me, you know what I'm saying? I didn't see my parents doing that. So I'm like, you're not supposed to do that in public. You're not supposed to do this, that, and the other. But he wanted something different. His parents didn't do it either. They were divorced. But he always told me he wanted something different. So while he's trying to teach me something different that he wanted, I was pushing and bucking up against it because I didn't want it. I wanted to do what I'd always done, which was take care of everybody else. I wanted to make sure everybody else was good. So taking on the assignments of everything and everybody caused my marriage to like really get to the point where my husband took them garbage bags and put all his stuff in it and left me. Because I wasn't the wife that he knew I could be, that he saw in me. I didn't see all of that. I just saw somebody that was supposed to make sure the kids was good, make sure the bills was paid, make sure, we had food in the I knew that woman. So my trauma that went into my marriage, I made it trauma because I thought that that's what it was supposed to be. I didn't know it was trauma. I didn't know it was wrong. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying, to not put him first. I only did what I saw my mother do. She cooked for my dad. She was going to church. She was serving, but the role, this is where it was different. I shouldn't have based my marriage off my parents. My mother and my father, they worked theirs together in ministry. My father was the pastor, so my mother did what she was supposed to do. I just took on the role of, I'm supposed to take care of everybody. I watched my mom do that, but that was her role as the first lady. She was my dad's helpmeet in that aspect. So I just picked up on her characteristics and continued to do that. Well, my husband wasn't no pastor, so he could care less. You know what I'm saying? He could care less about everybody else being good. He just wanted to be with me. So that's where I messed up. Because I thought that I was supposed to do it one way. I watched my role model. I mirrored my mother, but that wasn't what I was supposed to do for my marriage.
Yes, that's good.
And I learned that. I had to learn that the hard way. Like I stated, I had to learn that by him leaving. I had to learn that by us arguing constantly. And then it dawned on me. I don't want to keep going through this. I don't want to keep dealing with this in my marriage, especially with a man that took me and 2 children.
That's
I mean,
real.
don't
That's
be no
good.
fool.
That's
Monette, don't be
good.
no fool. He came for me and my children.
Yeah, yeah,
So, you know, it's a lot of people out there that don't want a woman with kids. That
yeah.
don't want to be bothered, don't want to be nobody's stepdaddy. They don't want to do that. But this man came and loved me. I tell him sometimes, I say, I think you loved my kids and my dad and my mama more than you loved me. He said, I really did. You was just a bonus.
And that, look, and that's okay.
And I'm loving it now.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that I stopped and got godly counsel,
Jesus.
like with Pastor Lewis and my mother and my aunts, and you know, people were able to say to me, whoa, that ain't how this is supposed to be done.
Right.
But that's what we're missing. We're missing somebody to come and pull these young people's coattails and say, don't do it that way, baby. I see you headed for destruction. I see you headed for, you know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful. I'm grateful somebody loved me enough to stop me in advance before I ruined my marriage. I was literally on the way to ruining my marriage.
My God.
Because I was doing it the wrong way.
Wow.
Didn't know I was doing it wrong, but that role was not for me. I can still help. I can still serve. I still love being at the funeral home. But now I've learned my limits. I've learned to come home. I've learned to make sure my husband's dinner is waiting when he gets home. I've learned to do it different. And now he's happy and I'm happy. So it ain't just one of us is happy. We're both happy. And we okay with letting the other one do what they need to do. But at the end of the day, we come home together.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
You better say it.
We come home together. When he get off work, I don't do nothing else after that. Long as he at work, I can do. But when he gets off, ain't no, okay, I'll be home a little late. No, I'm at home. And I've learned, I had to learn that.
I want to touch that so bad, but I'm not. But it's real. And a lot of times, people say their family is their first ministry or what have you. And then you hear people say, well, that ain't how it's supposed to go. Might not be how it's supposed to go for you.
Did you help? Come on.
I go for
you know what I'm saying? But I believe that everybody's responsibility and the way they run their home is different. The key is to keep God at the center.
Right.
He needs to be in the center. That means that everything that about you and about your life should revolve around God, His will, His principles.
That's right.
But if He calls you to be a wife or a mom, you need to take care of your business. Miss Stephanie, what you think about that?
I said it's setting boundaries. I realized, we serve our kids for so much for so long. And sometimes we forget, that our husbands are there and they need to be served too. And I'm not talking about like necessarily physical serving, but serving them nonetheless. And I've come to the realization, I look at my kids and I'll be like, me and dad is gone. They be like, y'all leaving again? Yes, we are. This is a me and him thing. We always put our kids first. And I have to be like, it's mom and dad time. Well, can we go? No.
Not this time.
And we do it quite often because, our family is large. So we have to make sure that we taking time for each other.
Correct.
Because we get so busy, because, kids have to be here, there, or whatever the case may be. And so we find time. I'll be like, let's just sit in the car.
I want you to continue talking, but let me just say this, because I believe my children are the oldest. My youngest is 24. My youngest is 24. Okay. Your kids will honor all that you've done to take care of your marriage.
That's right.
I'm telling you, keep doing that, because they talking now. But girl, let them get a girlfriend. Let them get busy as fuck. They ain't gonna be thinking about you, but they will honor. That's the one thing my children, when you get feedback as they're adults, because I'm 24 to 34, so 4 children, you get feedback, right? I know you know about this too, Miss Monette.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your son, now that he's a parent, you probably give feedback. That's the one thing that, I know, you got to do this with dad, or, one of my sons, he don't play about his dad and his mom. I know y'all got to do this. And you know what I'm saying? He doesn't want anything to interrupt that. And so I appreciate you know, you're doing that because your children will honor that.
That's right.
And that's one of those things where the children rise up and call you blessed.
Come on here.
That's one of the things they'll honor.
And and they will also repeat.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's
and they will
more
also fund it.
Every
now and then.
Hey.
Here.
Y'all go. Y'all do this. Yeah.
Y'all go. Praise be unto the Most High God. I'm thinking,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's good.
That's
good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Anything else on that, Miss Stephanie?
No, that's just got to take care of him, you know, because he's taking care of me. Like, that's you know, right. My husband, he when I tell you he is a godsend, I just that's my Superman.
You come on
here. Him that. I be like, baby, you wear that S on your chest because you are definitely my Superman. And I'm so yeah, like for real.
But that's good.
So when I can take him away, absolutely. That's just, you know, that's what I do. And I look at the kids, I be like, y'all be okay. Dinner is already made for y'all. We gone.
That's
like we gone.
I think that, you know, as we are talking, it just lets me know that it's like a sign. It's like what the word say, he rewards the diligent. You know what I'm saying? You know, you just stay focused on what you have to do, even if it's hard, even if it's difficult. You have to go through those times in order to experience the good times. And it does seem like I just can't do it. You know, when I see young moms, and this is one of the reasons why I'm talking about this too, is because it is people like us now. It's our responsibility, and I know you guys do it anyway, but just to reach back and encourage your young women. And when I see them, you know, before I point my finger and speak ill of them, you know, I want to encourage them, or I want to pray for them, or, you know, if I can help some kind of way, you know, I want to be able to do that, because that journey ain't no joke. It ain't no joke if you young and have a baby at 17, 18, 19, and you married.
Come on. Right.
It's just no, you know, it's just no, it's nothing to play with. And so I wanted us to have these conversations because where we are now, we have not always been. Correct. And in this, you see that it's a journey to get to even here, and we're not done yet.
Absolutely not.
We're so not done yet.
Right.
I want to ask a question too, and shout out to I like how you say Leonard. Leonard and Butch, you know, whatever. Leonard, aka Butch, and Mr. Jermaine Allen. That you want to say, any encouragement, anything else that you want to say before we close out?
Ladies, you teenage moms, married moms, you got this. You can do this. Whatever you've gone through, it's okay. You've made it this far. You've done what you had to do to get here, or it's happened that you are here. God's gonna take you a little bit further. Don't give up on the journey now. You already got this. It's okay. You did what you needed to do. God is doing what he's going to do, and it's gonna be all right.
That's good.
That's it.
All I can say is trust the process.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all so much.